afternoon, and thank you for joining us for Midday Kentucky. Troy, still taking a few days off, so we're lucky to have David joining us on this Monday.
Hello, David.
Oh, happy Monday.
Happy
I feel like
Monday.
it's just setting it off right with you
How was your
ladies.
weekend?
Oh, it was wonderful. Just had a real relaxing, you know, took a little time for ourselves. Cleaned. That's what that means.
Okay.
You know, as an adult, it's like,
That's
what'd you
right.
do?
That's
Had time
right.
for me, so I just cleaned my house.
Clean your house. Nice,
right.
nice. How was your weekend, Lisa?
It was good. Same thing. I just cleaned. Started getting the Christmas decorations out. So I had to I had to drag all the boxes from the basement up and do all that. I got the tree up. Haven't decorated it yet, but I do have the tree up, so that I feel accomplished. Actually.
Good. I like it.
And then, what did you do this weekend, Kate?
I had a pretty relaxing weekend as well. Friday night, I went to the American Cancer Society casino night, and that was just amazing. They raised so much money for a wonderful cause. So that was really fun to get out there. And then, yeah, I did a closet clean out. So that was my kind of cleaning, getting ready for the cold weather.
That takes time,
this
you know,
weekend.
those commitments to some of those. Okay, I've got to let go.
I know. Well, I didn't let go of any of it. I just boxed it up for next winter. So some things I had already donated something.
Sure.
I
Whatever.
just boxed it up. Well, we want to let you know that one of our fabulous Midday Kentucky sponsors is having an event that we wanted to tell you about that's happening on Wednesday. If you've ever wondered about Sculpture, the Anti-Aging Institute is having a VIP event to talk about that sculpture procedure, and it's over lunch. That's awesome. You'll be able to chat with experts to see if sculpture is right for you. So again, this lunch is happening on Wednesday. That's the 15th from 12 p.m. to 1. I want to show you some before and after pictures of what sculpture can do for you. And during this lunch, you're going to have the free consultation at the lunch, 20% off all services and products. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And a chance to win a $1,200 sculpture procedure. So if you've ever been wondering about sculpture, what it can do for you, we know it's really tough. It's great for those spots that are just your trouble spots. You know, working out, and you just can't lose a little bit of that belly fat or love handles.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it's good for.
Ah, okay.
So if you want to, if you've been wondering, go over it. No pressure. Just have lunch and learn about it.
And Dr. Bosch is amazing.
He's
he
is an incredible doctor. So I think it's definitely people check it out.
Yeah, we keep saying they make you feel like family when you come in there. But so the lunch, it's a free consultation lunch, no pressure, but you do have to RSVP. So call the number that we have on your screen, and you can RSVP for their lunch. There's one more time. You see their address. You can also go to their Facebook page and find their contact information there as well.
Good.
But now, guys, I wanted to get the story going with,
the
show going with my favorite story for this Monday. I don't know if you'll be as excited, but Lisa, you can now actually have breakfast at Tiffanys. Yes! Awesome. Yes. You need to take Brandy there, David.
Yes, woman loves luxury.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. The luxury jewelry store has now opened its first ever restaurant. This happened over the weekend. It's called the Blue Box Cafe.
Very
and
appropriate.
it's at its flagship store in New York City there on 5th Avenue. The cafe is decked out with all of Tiffany's eggshell blue. It's a fixed $29 breakfast. Expensive for breakfast, but I was actually surprised.
it's not like
for 5th
outlandish.
Avenue, wow.
Yeah.
And it includes options like Audrey Hepburn's famous croissant, however you say it. Croissant.
I love it.
I would love to go there.
I would
so
love
cool.
it.
Would you?
I would totally go there
I'm sure
in a
they're gonna
heartbeat.
do
I
well.
love Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Because it's just, it's such a landmark.
And
Like,
and that price point is really good too. I'm really surprised by the price point for breakfast. So I'm like, yeah, I'm there.
I wonder how many proposal videos we'll start seeing happening at breakfast at
seriously.
Tiffany's,
Oh,
right?
Perfect. That's great. I love it.
you know how you were talking about oatmeal earlier?
Yes.
You know, you're having some oatmeal and you're like, what's this? And it's a diamond ring.
Yeah.
That'd be a pretty good.
You got to get something for a $29 oatmeal.
That's
Put a ring in it. Yeah.
Put a ring in it. I love it.
Well, Lisa, you brought something to the table today. You know, we've talked about this before, and this is spanking in children, but now you actually found some research that's come out, right?
Yeah, well, you know, spanking naughty children increases the risk of depression.
Wow.
And becoming hooked on illegal drugs. And this is based on a new study that just came out. And I just, you know, when I read it, I don't know. I mean, how do you all feel about spanking first and foremost with kids?
I'm not a big fan of it.
Yeah.
I was spanked as a kid. You know, my mom would like hold my hand. My dad had a thing called a razor strap, which I don't even know if he just made that name up to intimidate me.
Razors on it?
No, it was just like a leather belt, you know.
Right.
But it happened like 3 times in my life, and they'd be like, "Hey, we love you, but you can't, you know, blah blah blah."
Yeah.
So you know, I think that enough evidence has shown that it really doesn't help out the kids. At the same time, you know, I think people do it out of frustration sometimes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always get that clear, you know, what the parent's trying to get across.
The message.
Yeah.
I think at a young age, I'm not against it if you're using it as more scaring the child, like not actually hurting them, like a very young age. I don't know. I was spanked as a child as well, and I've always said I will not spank my kids, but I'm not a parent, so I don't know. But I don't have a problem with people doing it when it's not hurting the child. I think more at a young age. I feel like my mom would spank me when I was like 14, so I'm not doing it.
Hello, Katie's
I'm not
mom.
lying.
Yeah, she's like, I'll take that.
That's hilarious. But you know, on a more serious note, what they're saying is that, you know, the lines are blurred with what is appropriate and not hurting the child versus what is more damaging and actually physically abusing the child when it comes to spanking. So, I mean, that's kind of where the story, you know, it doesn't really tap into that. All it looked at were people that were spanked growing up. They looked at 8,300 adults, and they had them talk about kind of their home life, whether or not they were physically and mentally abused at home. And they said that some 55% of the respondents reported being spanked, and that it was primarily men and ethnic minorities who were most likely to have experienced it, which didn't surprise me, actually. You know, girls, I guess, you know, kind of get the easy way out.
Yeah,
Were you spanked as a child?
I was, yes.
But did you do that with your children when they were young?
You know what? No, not. I mean, there might have been one or two instances, but it was very. It wasn't. It was very light, and it was not anything. It was where they were actually physically going to hurt themselves, like they were going to fall down the stairway. And I just, you know, for me, that it freaked me out, and it, you know. But for the most part, what we did was the naughty step. And where I would sit Jack or Harrison on the naughty step on the stairs. We had a little naughty step where they had to go. If they got in trouble, they had to go sit by themselves for generally about a minute for each age or for each year of their age. So if they were 5 years old, they'd have to sit there for 5 minutes. And they hated it, and they would cry like it was just this most horrific thing I've ever done.
Did it work?
It did. I think it did.
I hope Troy doesn't do that with the studio.
I hope Brandy doesn't do that to you. You have a lot of minutes on that chair.
I can see. David, let's go. God, you know.
But you know, I think, you know, even with spanking too, but you know, even though I did the naughty step, the thing that I think about with this is that once the punishment is done, I felt like I was able, you know, once the 5 minutes was up, I would go over and I would talk to them about what they did and why they had to sit there. Do you understand why mommy put you on the naughty step? Yes, you know, and you know, and explain that to them, and then, you know, let's not do this again, blah, blah, blah. And then I would give them a hug and say, I love them. And so delivering the punishment, I think spanking, you know, if you're spanking a child and then just dismissing them off, I wonder if that, you know, is really kind of where the mental abuse starts to come in, where you're just like dismissing them and ignoring them and not, you know, letting them understand that you're doing it to protect them, or you're doing it because you love them and that they need to stop and behave a certain way, and just letting them know that you still love them no matter what.
So this study is really advocating no spanking at all.
No spanking.
At any age.
Yes, that's what the study, I mean, that's where they were going
Even
with
when
it.
you're 14, Katie.
Yeah. So there you go.
Mom.
Moving on. I like David's topic a lot today. This is about traveling. We all love to travel. But
Well,
with your kids just traveling the world, what's going on?
It's kind of perfect with you two, you know, because Katie, you like going, you travel hard, and Lisa, you've got kids, so it's kind of like merging it together.
Okay.
In a bid to prove that parenthood doesn't really mean the end of adventure, one couple told us how they were quitting their jobs and selling their possessions to travel the world with their two young children. Carrie and Joe Smith, who are currently based in New Forest in South England, basically said, you know, they're done with living the stuff life. They have the idea that they have plenty of stuff, they have a nice home, but they're hungry for a little bit more. They want the adventure. And they're trying to really prove, and this was funny to me, trying to prove to naysayers that they could still hit their bucket list activities and wouldn't be just stuck in the everyday, you know, let's go through this life. Because basically, I think he's an accountant and she's a teacher. And they're like, you know, we love our life, but we really want to push experience. The one thing we don't have enough of is time. So, you know, I thought I'd kind of throw this to you guys because well, hold on, let's reverse real quick. Because when I read over where they were going and what they're planning, they're also doing a Disney cruise during their world travel. Okay. They're going to Hawaii, they're going to Canada, they're going to, you know, a lot of more touristy areas in life.
And they're taking a year off, or what are they doing?
They said they want to go as long as they can.
Oh, okay.
So I was kind of like, well, you know, what is the point? But the point that they're looking for is freedom and experience.
Right.
So I thought that was cool. And, you know, his wife's a teacher, so she could help teach the kids while they're still traveling.
Right.
To me, having the kids with me, because I love traveling also, would be a huge undertaking. You know what I mean?
It would.
But I know people that do it that are in the service. I've got some family in China right now, and they put their pictures up like, and you know, they just went to Cambodia this weekend. Went to the temples. She has 4 kids. They don't stop. So I know it's doable. What do you guys think?
I love it. I mean, I think you should always try to share your passions with your kids. If you really love traveling, I just think this is sort of a once in a lifetime selling all your belongings and traveling. That's really expensive to travel for more than a year. And I'm just thinking that the kids are only 4 and 2, so the 2-year-old really remember everywhere you went?
That's what I
so
was
I
thinking.
do like it, but I think I would wait until an older age, maybe take the whole summer, because the younger age, I think that they're motivated because it's before they're in school, so how can you take a whole year? But I think I would rather take a few summers and travel for those consecutive months when they're older and will always remember, because that's expensive. You can't do it when they're 2 and then a few years later take another whole year.
Right.
Or, I don't know. What do you think?
No, I agree. I think that's a good idea, actually, doing it over the summertime and just extending that vacation all through the summer. Because, I mean, number one, they are very young. They're not going to remember those experiences as well as if they were older. You know, kind of getting into the age 6 and above, I would say, would be, you know, really a great time. And really, to take them out of school, if you went straight through for a year, I think that would be very difficult. You know, kids are already establishing their friendships and their, you know, connections with other kids, and I think it might be hard to uproot them like that. But definitely over the summers, extending that out, it would be so much fun. If we could do that, I think it would be a blast.
And you know, when we talk about this, I really feel like they're really just doing this for themselves.
Yeah,
they might say like, yeah, we're bringing the kids.
that's what I kind
it's
of think.
It's going to be a lot of fun, but we got to travel. So let's hit the road. And I'm just kind of like, man, leaving everything alone. But I admire them. I respect it. It'll be fun.
Lisa, at what age do you think that your kids traveled well? And what did you do first? You know what I mean? Is that just the first trip beyond, you know, grandparents' house or something like that? Where'd you go and what age?
Oh gosh, you're gonna die. We took Jack when he was 18 months old. We took him to Hawaii on a cruise.
Wow, okay.
Respect. So
How was the flight?
And you know what? We were really scared about the flight, and I'm sure everybody that got on that plane was scared as well. But he did great. I couldn't believe it. We had at the time, I think we had like some sort of a little electronic thing that he could play with and stuff. And he was great. I mean, everybody, matter of fact, once we landed in California, everybody exiting the plane, they were like, he did so good. They were like congratulating me and thanking him and everything. It was so funny. But but they travel, you know, my kids would travel pretty well. You know, we didn't have too much difficulty with that. Only if they get sick. That's the problem. When they're sick and you're traveling, it's not good no matter what.
So maybe a year wouldn't be a good idea.
No,
it's nice
try
to come
avoid
home.
it.
Sleep in your bed.
It's definitely
Exactly.
nice.
Exactly.
Well, stay with us. We have more at Midday Kentucky after the break. If you've ever wondered about microblading or permanent makeup, we're getting all the details from the professionals at Commonwealth Plastic Surgery right after the break.